one I really like here. It's usually the anti MLS crowd, less Liga MX and just anti MLS crowd that says Leagues Cup wasn't actually a real tournament. It was just a cash grab so owners can make more money.
Well, I'm sure the owners made plenty of money. Anybody that got to play against Messi probably made boatloads of money. Uh, but I don't know why you wouldn't call it a real tournament. I mean, what was it then? Like, was this just like a bunch of friendlies? What do you call this? I don't understand.
That
Is this
that
that
was
is this like the equivalent of the Audi Cup in the US? Like, is Harry Kane on his way to try to win this fake tournament too?
so that's always my favorite thing is like MLS will never be a real league unless what is a fake league versus a real, like what does that even mean? How do you look at something and be like, oh, this isn't real? Like they're not a serious league. Like I don't know. Anyways, for me, this comment usually comes from the same people who will drop hundreds of dollars to go watch U21 teams from Europe play against each other in a friendly on American soil and then justify it because they're European, as if it wasn't just a cash grab for the European owners themselves. That's usually the group of people who would do that. It's the LOL MLS sucks and this is just a cash grab. I can't believe people like it. And then their bio is like glory, glory, Man United. Like you're clearly out here doing nothing, beneficial. Um, Here's the deal: did it make money? Yes. Was it meant to make money? Maybe. Was the what we talked about? The whole point of this was not a money grab. The whole point was to expose different people to different types of games. What came out of this outside of some bragging rights? MLS clubs or winners of Leagues Cup, Champions League, whatever, are now getting invited to play down in South America in Copa Sudamericana and all these other international tournaments, which is something we've been asking for years to get exposure outside of the Caribbean islands and Mexico. We're finally getting this exposure, and people are angry because we did it through Leagues Cup instead of through like, you know, I can't even think of a different way to do it, but there's just like it was just another feather in the cap of the anti MLS crowd that was like, um, I don't like MLS and people are upset about this, so I'm gonna make some random complaint and just run it out until I beat the dead horse. And I don't know. I think it's a bit silly, but you
Why
know,
does it even matter if it's a cash grab? Like, what do you think the owners are doing with the teams in general? Like, you think that they're in it for the love of the game? Like, you think James Harden is an investor in the Houston Dynamo because he loves MLS and he loves the Dynamo? He probably doesn't even. I wouldn't be too surprised if James Harden doesn't even know he's invested in the Dynamo. Like he does it because it's probably like a recommendation from his financial advisor or something. Like, oh, the valuation of these leagues are growing every year. Like it's good to get an investment percentage in there. Like they're in it to make money. They're not in it for the love of the game. I mean, maybe some of them are. That would be ideal. I mean, obviously you'd want an owner who actually cares, but I mean, let's be honest. Look at half of the teams in this league. NYC still doesn't have a stadium, so it's hard to say that their owners care.
let's put it this way. Why does anybody go buy a team in Europe or put you know stake in their teams in Europe? It's not JJ Watt did not go to Burnley and was like, "Oh my god, I love soccer. I can't wait to put money into Burnley."
Yeah.
No, he put it in because Burnley were 3 games away from getting promoted to the Premier League, and if he put money in right then, the second they got promoted, his investment tripled.
Mm-hmm.
What a, how like but again, it's a conversation between like, oh, we need to hate on one thing because it's not exactly the same as something else, but then when it gets brought up that it's the exact same thing just with a different background, then it's excuse city. But you
Well,
know
yeah, I don't understand. Like, what competition is not a cash grab? Like,
correct.
think about how much money the Premier League brings in. Like, what do you? That's a huge like plus for owners and everybody plays and like dies in the Sky Bet Championship playoffs because if you can just make it to the Premier League for one season, you get a massive payoff that probably saves your club for like years down the line. Like that's the reason to make it. Like obviously plenty of fans are going to be like, they want to make it not from a monetary reason. Like obviously the fans gonna want it to do it for the accomplishment and the prestige of it. But like the owners, they want to make it because they're gonna make a ton of money. Like it's every league, it's every competition. They all want to make money. And if there are leagues and competitions not making money, they probably won't last because the owners will just stop putting money into it.
Well, and the biggest point to that, I think you make a really good point there, is everybody wants it to be fan driven. But anytime we suggest something that says, hey, maybe you should support the league yourself, find a team and do it, there are 9 excuses of why they won't do it. So the complaint of we need to do things so that, you know, we have more fan interest, those complaints are not from the people that we're trying to draw into this. It's from the people who are never going to be here in the first place. Everything is done for money. Doesn't matter what league you're in. Man City aren't signing $100 million defenders because it's fun. They're signing it because if he can play 15 games and win them another trophy that gets them another $150 million, they just made money. It's always money. It's like people pretend like it's always the love of the game, and it's just not. It's just not. Let's finish up with this last. Unless you have something else you wanted to add.
Nope, I'm ready for the last one.